I want you to cultivate a state of fearlessness, not being afraid of the depression, because the more we are not afraid of it, the more it slinks back and the more it fades away. It fades away in the light of our fearlessness. And I want to teach you a technique right now that I learned when I was reading books on OCD, because I've had very severe, pure OCD as well, which means it's OCD that's primarily in the head. And yes, it leads to physical actions, but not necessarily. You can just be purely caught up in the head. That's where it starts. And there's one technique I learned about that changed my life, was really helpful. You have to be fearless to do it, and you can do it. You can be fearless like that. And this technique is called pulling the trigger. It's called pulling the trigger because you can imagine that when you pull the trigger, you're daring a bullet to come out. And similarly, when we pull the trigger and we tell our depression that we've been fearful of because it's been ruining our lives and it seems like a big bad monster, when we say, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, do your worst. I want you to be as painful as possible, because I know if you bring out the deepest, darkest, depressed feelings possible, I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to see you for who you are. I'm going to feel you for as bad as you are. And I'm also going to see the ends of that badness, because for every intense emotion, no matter how intense that emotion is, there's always an end to it. It's finite. There's only so much pain an emotion can cause. And it's even true for physical pain. You can be in so much physical pain, eventually you would go unconscious. There's actually a limit in terms of physical pain, how much physical pain there could be. And with depression, oftentimes why it's so bad is that it just drags on indefinitely, and maybe it's not at the absolute intensity as if you were burning your hand, but it's always there and it's constantly ruining your life, and that's what makes it so frustrating. This is why this technique works. When we pull the trigger, we're daring it to show how bad it can be, and there's going to be a limit to that. And so is it going to be as painful as putting your hand over a stove? Maybe. And if it is, let it show that. Let it be that painful. Oftentimes it's not quite as painful as that. There's a limit. And when we reach that limit and we realize that there are ends to it, it's not infinitely enormous and infinitely overpowering, we gain a sense of control. And what also actually happens is the depression begins to wear itself out. Emotions don't have the intensity to cause an infinite amount of pain for an infinite amount of time. There's only so much behind them, only so much energy that's sustaining them, however great that may be. And we start to exhaust that energy, and in doing so, it starts to fade. Because after we pull the trigger, and if the depression listens to us as we've dared, and goes up to its maximum, it can only sustain there so long, and it comes back down. And oftentimes when we dare to do its worst, the length of time we spend in that degree of a bad depressive mood is actually less, because it's exhausted itself. So don't be afraid to pull the trigger.